I'm asking only, have you read it?
Have you read it?
Yes.
And what does it say?
Okay, this is what Jesus says a little bit later on in John. He says, just as I and the Father are one. Remember, he says, just as I. That means he's saying earlier on, I said, I and the Father are one, like you just showed me. Mm-hmm. So he's now using the same phrase, and he says, he continues, just as I and the Father are one, I pray that you will also be one with us. So he makes all the believers, all the disciples to be one. Earlier on, you understood this verse to mean one being. So now you are also part of this one being, because that's what he prayed to. That's what he said. He says, just as I and the Father are one, you will also be one with us. That's the explanation Jesus gave in context. So this is what the Christians don't tell you in the churches.
See, because he's making a claim like that.
Excuse me. One second. In the context, look, when you're at home, read the whole of John, and you look to understand the context that I gave you, and then ask yourself, Jesus is saying, just as I and the Father are one, so shall you be one with us. Is there a difference between this oneness? The answer is, one second. The answer is, there is no difference in oneness, because he's using this conditional phrase, just as I, so shall you be. Even in English, it's very clear. So this verse does not prove Jesus is one God. It only demonstrates the purpose they have, one purpose. Jesus is doing the works of God. He has the same purpose God has sent him to. So, before the universe was created, Jesus Christ, look, if he's self-sufficient, you know what it means?
Yes, I understand.
It means for his own existence, he's not dependent on anyone, not even the Father. That means he himself is God. Himself, without anyone else making him a God. How much of God would he be? Half a God? 1/3 God? Or one God?
He's 100% God.
So he will be 100% God. Fine, I understand that understanding. If he's 100% God, that's one God, right? No, Jesus. If he is 100% God, does that make him a quarter God, or half God, or one complete God? One complete God. You don't even need to answer this rhetorical question. It's a one complete God. So you already have within Jesus one complete God.
Yes.
If you now have another person who is also 100% one whole complete God, that won't be one God. That will be two gods, and three gods, and four gods, and five gods. That's why in Christianity they have three complete whole gods. But because of these consequences of believing in three gods, and everyone will say you are a tritheist, polytheist, they say no, we believe in one God. They make three in one. To give you an example, you are a human being sharing humanity. How many humans are you? One human. You are a one human being likewise sharing humanity. I am a human being sharing humanity. I'm one human. Together, how many humans are we? One? Three. So you have now Father in this belief shares divinity. That's one God. Son shares divinity. That's one God. Holy Spirit shares divinity. That's one God. Together, why is that one God? Not three gods, like three humans.
God stands outside of space, time, and matter. When we look at him, we're like 2D creatures.
Are we different beings?
But why is that not three gods?
He is multidimensional. We cannot fathom him. If we were to look at him in the state that we are right now with our mortal human bodies, we wouldn't be able to comprehend it, because we see God, and then we see Jesus, and then we see the Holy Spirit. But he's so much more.
He was saying God already came down on this earth according to your belief, right?
Yes, then
right.
he ascended.
Yeah, but here's the problem. God that you ascribe perfect attributes to, God is unknowledgeable.
Yes.
Do you know what happens when he comes down here on this earth? He becomes ignorant.
Because the divine essence comes down, which is not true.
He separated himself from his divine nature. He came fully as human to do the role that he was called to do, which means
while he became human, was he already unknowledgeable also?
He limited himself.
Good question. Now, let's understand about limitations. If you are unknowledgeable, you know the past, present, and future already, can you then not know the future?
The reason why he limited himself
No, not the
was
reason.
so he could rely on the Father for everything.
It's not-
Otherwise he would be living by his
No,
own
no.
will.
I'm
and
not talking about reasons.
I didn't interrupt you.
I am sorry. Continue.
Thank you.
After all, it's just
He
your
limited
opinion,
himself to be
and
fully
so I can
human and
reject
fully
your
depend on
opinion
God
as much
so
weight
that
as
he
you
could
make
show
it.
us that we need to rely on the Father for everything. If he
get
was
close then.
allowed himself to
Give
still be
solutions,
fully
brother.
God and fully man, unlimited in his divine being, he wouldn't be able to function like us and have sympathy for us. But he limited himself so he could understand how weak we were. We need to constantly rely on the Father.
He doesn't know that already.
But we are our own gods. We say, no, God, I don't want to do your will anymore. I want to do my way. And he showed us that he set aside his own human will. He didn't want to die on the cross. He begged, Father, don't let me do it. But he surrendered himself and did the will of the Father because he knew that it was going to free us. He was going to be the full sacrifice for us.
So
that is why he
what
limited
you're
himself.
explaining is the reason why he became human or became limited. My question is the very concept of limiting. While God is all-knowledgeable, can you even have an all-knowledgeable God knowing the future,
That's accurate.
limiting himself and not knowing the future while he knew the future already? To give you an easy breakdown of this,
Do you mean the essence of God?
imagine,
Yes, you do.
what's your name?
Angela.
Angela. Now, imagine I know your name and I don't forget, right? And I will always know your name. If I will always know your name, can I then not know your name?
Wait, so I have a question.
Before you go into the next question, I will take your question. On that question I ask, if I know the name Angela, and I will always know the name, yeah? Because I know past, present, and future. Is it possible then for me not to know the name Angela?
But God limited Jesus to the amount of knowledge he
No,
could know.
what
And
I'm
when he
asking,
gave
what I'm
him-
saying is, if God is all knowledgeable, what we mean by all knowledgeable is he knows the future as well as the present and past.
Yes.
Do you accept that this is the definition of all knowingness?
Yes.
Right. If God knows the future already, try to understand what I'm saying. If he knows the future already, can he then later on not know the future?
It's a reference
Because
to
as a
marriages.
human,
because
he
the
limited
father-
himself to
Jewish-
knowing.
Not as a human, as God.
Father of the Jewish.
Then yes, as
Right.
God, when he ascended back
one
into
who
heaven,
announced
No, no.
the wedding.
While he was here on earth,
Why he said
as
it.
God,
Because none will announce
So
it.
is it
back-
possible for him?
Is
It's
announced
like
by
this.
the Father.
Can the infinite become finite and remain infinite?
No one says that though.
One second.
No one says that.
Can the infinite become finite and remain infinite?
he made himself finite and remained finite until the Lord allowed him to have the knowledge that he needed
Okay.
to understand.
Perhaps you didn't understand the question. By definition, infinite is not finite. So the infinite will never become finite in the first place. So when the infinite becomes finite, it was never infinite to begin with.
Not the sophistry.
And it will never become finite and remain infinite. Contradiction in terms. So if you are already all knowledgeable, by definition, you can never become ignorant. If you know 100% of something, you'll be 0% ignorant of that, not
Why are you reading
5%.
the Bible with
One
so
second, please listen. If you are 100% knowledgeable on something, how many percent ignorant are you on this matter? 0%, not 5%. You cannot be 100% knowledgeable and 5% ignorant. It makes no sense. So that's why in Christian theology, God being all knowledgeable becomes ignorant. It's not sensible. It's not
That's not
believable.
what we believe though. That's not what we believe. Because we don't believe the divine essence of God is limited. Alright, that which holds the power. The human body is what
Let me
holds
ask
the
you a
power.
question.
The human let me
Now let me ask you a question so
You've
you can
acknowledged
explain.
me speaking.
No.
You've acknowledged me speaking.
I want
so
to ask you a question so I can engage
human
with you.
body is that which holds
Okay,
the power to
so I'm not going to
punch.
engage with you then because you're not engaging.
ask me
So,
a question.
so Angela,
It's one way to get
does that make sense to believe in a concept of God in which
humans hate
it's not sensible?
authority in sense. They hate truth. This is why you can't
God's-
handle it.
What's your name?
Has son been
What's your name? Eric. Mansoor. Does it make sense to believe in a God who is perfect but becomes imperfect?
Straw man. Straw
Jesus
man.
gets
No,
separated?
in any concept, not
Straw man.
Christianity. In any concept of God in which God is perfect becomes imperfect. Is that believable?
Jesus
He's
didn't become
misrepresented.
imperfect. Was Jesus
That's why you don't
imperfect?
understand it.
Is
You were doing
Jesus
it earlier.
unknowledgeable?
Why are you not doing it earlier? You're a hypocrite.
No, he's not.
But he doesn't know when the Father's coming.
You were doing it earlier.
Jesus,
Can I ask you a question?
don't engage.
You're a hypocrite.
Don't engage. Don't even say a word.
Did you grow up with Islam?
Do you believe Jesus is unknowledgeable?
I believe that Jesus is my Lord and Savior and He died for my sins.
My friend,
Can I tell you?
Eric, the question is about perfection.
Right.
Being unknowledgeable is part of perfection.
He doesn't give that up.
Being ignorant is part of imperfection. Is Jesus unknowledgeable or ignorant?
He is not ignorant.
Is he unknowledgeable?
The divine essence got limited.
Can you listen to the question? Is he unknowledgeable?
Here's the thing. It's these questions.
Let me help you. Jesus says, of that day, Eric, let me help you to explain that answer. Of that day and of that hour knows no man, not even the angels in heaven, not even the Son, but only the Father.
Right.
So now, according to Jesus Christ, does he know the hour?
Do you know the context of that?
But Islam.
Where do you get
Sorry,
the context from?
Eric, does he know the hour?
The church fathers' interpretation.
Does he know the hour?
Holding of the church.
Before you ask a question, let's deal with that matter. Is Jesus, according to himself, unknowledgeable?
You're misrepresenting
The answer is no.
That verse is talking about.
That means he's imperfect.
That verse is a
That means
metaphor.
he's not a person or a being worthy of worship.
Jewish weddings.
That means he's not God.
Right. Okay.
Do you know how?
Do you agree with that?
With me, right? With me?
No, before you move on, do you agree with that?
Right?
Let him answer.
And you're talking to me.
Yeah.
And you see that. I know this.
It's not about less.
In your heart.
It's not about less.
Do you gain
You know
more
enough.
pride to pray on others?
Brother.
It's not about pride. It's about sharing the truth.
It's not. It's Turkey.
Sharing the truth.
Liar.
Wait.
You're lying. You're strong man in position.
Bangladesh?
Excuse me, please. Why are you interrupting, brother? Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm on your
It's-
side, man. Allow, man.
That's why you're
I'm backing
interrupting.
you.
That's why you're
You're
interrupting. I don't want your backing.
Disrespectful.
I don't want your backing. So, my friend, Eric, it's about sharing the truth. The truth must make sense.
Demon.
A belief in which God becomes imperfect, ignorant, is not a belief believable.
Right. Say hello to demon for me. Say hello to demon.
Islam is the truth, correct? So Muhammad got grabbed by the so-called angel. You believe that that was from God when he forced him?
It wasn't God grabbing him.
We believe the angel
Yeah.
grabbed him and
Yeah.
forced him, right?
Yeah.
Which angel?
That's not from God.
Hang on.
I'll tell you that.
You can believe in whatever you want to believe. The Quran that he brought from God is an open challenge to every human being on planet Earth until the day of judgment. One second.
Joseph, he grabbed him and said,
You know,
Did he have the
Eric, you're not listening. Eric, you're not listening. The Quran that he brought from God through the angel Gabriel is an open challenge to all humanity until the end of the world, including the spiritual beings that you don't know of called the jinns. So, if you don't accept the Quran is being from God, what the Quran... Shut up, man, and listen. Why are you interrupting all the time when we're talking? Listen, have some sense and be civilized. Be civilized.
You're misrepresenting.
What we're saying is the Quran challenges people
Don't misrepresent it.
to produce,
This is the fruit of
imitate a
misrepresenting.
chapter like the Quran if they think it's not from God.
But does the Quran say that whoever doesn't believe in Allah, they gotta be killed? Does the Quran say that?
No, it doesn't.
It says kill the disbelievers.
No, it doesn't.
It says kill the disbelievers.
No, it doesn't.
does.
Where did you get that
Kill the
from?
disbelievers.
Let's debunk this
From the
myth.
Quran. Let's get it from the
Hang on.
Quran.
Let's debunk this myth once for
It says
once
kill
for
the
no.
disbelievers. Stop
Wait,
doing
wait.
takia.
Okay.
No one likes
Wait, wait.
takia. We don't want takia.
Where does it say
We
that?
don't want takia.
Where does it say that?
It says that in your hadith.
Where?
which you
Where?
call Sahih.
No, in the Quran, what does it say that?
It says that in your hadith.
See you later, Eric and Angela. You take care. Yeah? Continue reading the Quran.
You are Sunni, by the way, because I don't want you telling me you're
One
Sahih
second.
hadith are not
One
Sahih
second.
anymore.
1 second. No, stop. Does it say in the Quran, go and kill the non-believers?
I said in the hadith, actually.
We were talking about the Quran. Wrong discussion. Take care.
Okay, think about what the hadith is.
We were
You-
talking about the Quran. I'm
is
not
that-
interested in talking to you anymore because
You use
you're
it
not
to
worth
interpret.
speaking to.
You cannot use a fallible thing to interpret an infallible thing.
I cannot
You
talk
see,
to
takes away
a
source away.
robot.
You cannot use a fallible thing to interpret
Stop,
an
stop.
infallible source.
What's your name?
You use Jack. You're using a.
Stop.
Why do you?